Folks, I'm Councilman Isaac Barone, the vice chair. Our chair could not be here today, so I'm only filling in for him, and I'm calling this session of the Regional Flood Control District to order.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. Item number 1 is comments by the general public.
Okay, if there's anyone from the public who would wish to say anything, now's the time. You'll have to fill out a card and just tell us who you are and where you live, and you can have your say. But of course, seeing no one, let's go ahead and close that and go to the next item.
Thank you. Item 2 is action to approve the agenda with the deletion of any items. Mr. Vice Chair, the agenda is in order for approval.
Fantastic. Do I have a motion to approve? And the councilman has that. I'll take a vote. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 3 is action to approve the minutes of the November 14, 2024 meeting, and the minutes are in order for approval.
Fantastic. I will entertain a motion for this. So moved. Seconded. Let's do it. Passes.
Item 4 is recognition of board member Mayor Carolyn Goodman, City of Las Vegas, for service to the Regional Flood Control District. Mr. Vice Chair, unfortunately, we missed Mayor Goodman's last meeting. She actually was removed, or was her term down and removed from office in December, and so she's not going to be at this meeting, but we wanted to go ahead and recognize her term on the board, or tenure here. She was on our board for about 10 years, and during that time, about $800 million in projects, designs and construction projects were approved during that 10-year period, which translates to 20 new detention basins and 117 miles of channels and storm drains. So we really appreciate her service. I did manage to go over to her office about a week and a half ago and talk to her in person, thanked her, gave her a small gift, and she was very appreciative. And so we just wanted to make sure we recognized her and thank her for her service.
Oh, definitely.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to say
Please.
one thing. So I'm almost guaranteeing she's watching this right now because I saw her driving around City Hall yesterday spying on us. So I know she's watching. She's the best public servant this community has ever seen. So really proud of her.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We will miss her for sure. Thank you.
Any other of the colleagues? Please, Councilman.
Sorry.
She was just a great person, and she's the kind of person that makes us all want to be better than we are and aspire to be more like her. So I appreciate the opportunity I had to get to know her.
Thank you.
Well said. Yeah, thank you.
Commish?
If we're speaking of, she's my neighbor and friend and longtime acquaintance, and obviously between the two Goodmans, they revolutionized Southern Nevada. So it's just amazing. I went and saw the statues, and they're pretty impressive too.
Thank you so very much. Councilman Mayor?
Well, obviously she has a legacy that is going to be hard to fill. She's done just an incredible job, both her and her husband. So hate to see them go, but wish them well.
Mayor?
I'm not going to say anything about my current county commissioner to my right, but the one before was much better looking. But certainly the Goodmans have left their fingerprints all over this state as well as the county. Appreciate them and what they've done, and Carolyn was certainly a jewel, and appreciate her and what she's done, and I don't think she'll be able to turn off her interests. She's been such a valuable person for so long. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And just from my point of view, it seems to me like the statues that are out there in front of City Hall, that's just not enough to honor, quite frankly, what this power couple gave to the Valley. I could literally say they were the Las Vegas couple, you know, and I don't think we'll ever see anyone like them again. And if she's listening, she's a person who I hold in the most highest respect. And I still can't believe a bit over 30 years ago, I was the guy doing her pest control services at her house, and actually at the commissioner's house before he moved in. You know, so yeah, very, very familiar with that. And with that, I guess we'll go on.
Okay. Thank you very much. Item 5 is recognition of board member Councilman Dan Shaw, City of Henderson, for service to the Regional Flood Control District. So Mr. Shaw has been on our board about 2 years. Unfortunately, he's having to leave. During that time, there were a couple of great projects that were approved in Henderson that were completed, the Whitney Ranch Channel and the Anthem Parkway Channel. He's done a great job. He's a numbers guy, and so he really grilled me in our briefings about the budget and other things and kept me honest, so that was great. So we'll miss him in his questions. We did get him a small gift to help remind him of his service on the Flood Control District Board.
Is that a brick?
Fantastic. Do we have any comments from the colleagues?
So Dan Shaw taught me a valuable lesson, somewhat new to the board. I was talking about water, and in my training, water runs downhill, and he assured me that it doesn't, it follows the money. Thank you, Councilman,
know.
appreciate it.
Dan, you told me one day that you went to, I believe it was a prep school, that was really hard to get into. You either had to be an exceptional scholar or you had to have an athletic scholarship. And you told me at that time, it's a good thing you were a good athlete. I've found since then you are an incredibly intelligent man, and I'm sure you could have gone there any way that you wanted. But just to listen to your understanding of all the problems going on in this area, it's pretty amazing how much you know. And thank you for all your help and support.
And I've served with you on 2 boards, and he does know the numbers. So unlike the rest of us, we're just hear you say it and say, oh, that sounds great. But he actually drills down and says, oh, wait a minute, what about this? And then you're just like, well, I don't know about that. So but they're very instructive. So thank you, Dan.
I enjoy sitting next to you. You're smart and you're funny and you ask the right questions, and you're a great public servant. So thank you very much for your service. I'll miss having you here.
Well, believe me, coming from Rojo Vegas, I really have come to respect and honor just how much the financial aspect of the running of a city is really important. In Councilman Shaw, we have a person who's a strong advocate for his community, but more than anything else, he is a very strong advocate for stewardship of the public trust. And it's been an honor to work with you. And of course, I myself will always you'll count on myself and the city of North Vegas as your friend. Any words from the councilman?
It's been an honor to serve on this board. This is frankly one of the best run boards that I serve on. They tend to balance their budgets and have good reserves and do great things for this community. This community wouldn't be what it is or where it is without flood control. And that's a key part of growth in this valley. So thank you for all you do, and it's been a pleasure to serve with you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Councilman.
Thank you.
All right, I guess it's time to discuss the general manager's monthly
All
report.
right, item 6 is to discuss the general manager monthly report. Mr. Vice Chair, just one project to discuss today. This is a detention basin project that's been completed up in the Moapa Valley in the Logandale area, north of Las Vegas. This is a 130 acre-foot detention basin. Just as a reminder, an acre-foot of water is about the size of a football field, 1 foot deep. So if you can imagine 130 of those, it gives you an idea how big this basin is. There's about 4,100 feet of box culvert that drains this detention basin down Whipple Lane to the Muddy River. At that location, there's an outlet structure and a trash rack that was constructed at the river. This basin has a 16,000 cubic feet per second OG Crest spillway, which is a spillway is designed to pass flow that's greater than the design event for the storm. If we ever get a storm bigger than what we designed this basin for, that water will go over the spillway and protect the structure. And then we added a water quality feature in it as well, which is kind of like a detention basin within the detention basin to capture the first flush of water that comes in the basin and send out cleaner water. The peak 100-year design inflow is 1,521 cubic feet per second on this. The outflow is only 44 CFS, so it's a 97% reduction in peak flow of the water that's draining down through the urban area, the urbanized area of Logandale. You can see photos of the trash rack there at the Muddy River, the OG Crest spillway, and the Stilling Basin there, as well as the water quality feature and upstream of the trash rack there. The bid on this project was about $21 million. It was designed by WSP. The construction was managed by VTN, and the contractor was CG&B Enterprises. With that, happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions by the colleagues? Seems to be a very modern design. I guess it's the latest in rural outflow management design.
Yeah, these basins, we have to comply with certain criteria per the state dam safety officials, and so we provide these spillways and other things to make sure they're safe. Awapa Valley is kind of interesting because it's got the Muddy River going through it, and so we got to protect for the flows from the Muddy River, but there's all these side inflows going into the Muddy River that flow through the city to get to the river, and so we got to build a number of detention basins in that area to protect all that developed area. So a lot of work left to do, but this is one good step in the right direction.
Fantastic.
So I really appreciate what you're showing because I've stood at the bank of the river as it's been flooding there, and it affects so many people downstream, and it was horrendous what the flooding was doing. So this was wonderful to see what we're doing and how we have made such a fast improvement in the lives of people. Thank you.
Plus, it's a pretty good example of, hey, yes, the flood control district is not just Las Vegas and the Las Vegas Valley. It's the entire county, and I'm very happy that we're able to include the rurals in the very fantastic management that your agency has been able to provide.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on.
Part 2 of your agenda is the consent agenda. These are items 7 through 14 that are considered to be routine and may be acted upon in one motion.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, I got a second and a third. Let's go ahead and go with vote. Motion passes.
I did want to make a comment on, I think it's item 11, which is the Flamingo Wash drainage from Maryland Parkway to Cambridge. That's in my district, and that's really going to make a huge difference, so thank you.
Yes, sir. I think it was item 13, but yeah, that's moving along, so it should start construction here shortly.
That's very cool.
Yeah, last time, I think that's a pretty good project there for us, right? I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Much
Commissioner.
needed, for sure. Part 3 of your agenda is discussion items. Item 15 is Pittman Sunset Storm Drain Phase 3, Burns Road, City of Henderson. Item 15A is action to accept the project presentation. I'm sure the City of Henderson is requesting funding on this project. We do have a presentation prepared, and Mr. Vance Skidmore with Atkins Realis is here to present.
All right, I'm Vance Skidmore. I was the lead design engineer on this project here in the City of Henderson. So this project is located on Sunset Road near just east of Boulder Highway along Burns Road. So the project across Boulder Highway was previously approved and is under construction now. The City of Henderson recently got funding to do the downstream, so there's a gap in this system that the City of Henderson wanted to fill up with a facility. So here it is. What you see in red there, crossing Boulder Highway, is currently under construction. We have a 12x6 box that connects from those facilities to an arch culvert that's also being constructed at the same time. And there's a transition structure between the reinforced concrete box and the arch culvert. Here it's mainly just a regular RCB. The one thing of note is it does have a groundwater French drain system underneath it, which is not typical in this area. As far as the funding goes, we're asking for $5.4 million for construction, construction management of $100,000, and entity construction management for $40,000, and entity design labor for $113,000. Currently, the project documents are 90% complete with design. All the right-of-way and easements have been obtained, and all necessary local, state, and federal environmental permits have been obtained on the project. The award of contract is currently underway, and construction is starting immediately, and the duration is about 12 months. Any questions?
All right, do I have any questions from the members of the board?
Just thank you for help with this. This is a gap in between two completed projects that has to be put in. We're fortunate in that, you know, you kind of glazed over that Henderson got funding. The reason it got funding is because of good systems. We required the upstream people to post a bond they didn't complete, and we were able to cash that bond and complete that portion of the project. And because that work is currently underway, the pricing on this is very attractive. So we appreciate your help on that, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else?
Now, if there's no other questions, staff would recommend you accept the project presentation in item 15A. Item 15B is action, sorry.
Okay, fantastic. Actually, I just do have one little minor question. There's the nerd in me. By the way, what is the official title when you address an engineer? Is there an official title when you address an engineer?
No.
And this is just like a nerd type question, right? The groundwater, of course, that changes the design of this project, huh? In all the time I've been here on flood control, I don't remember actually seeing a design that has to account for groundwater. And so I guess going back to the slide that shows that, I guess that's what it looks like. Will groundwater actually cause this thing to slide if you don't have this anchor in place?
So it's not really an anchor, it's a conveyance thing. So it's a perforated pipe surrounded by gravel and encased in a geotextile to prevent sediment from going in. So it moves groundwater is what it does.
Okay, fantastic. Again, I'm the guy that tries to follow the tech babble, you know, on Star Trek, right? Even though they just invent it, but I always say to myself, hey, that sounds pretty reasonable. You know, I think I understand. I think I understand on this one. I'll entertain a motion to accept the project presentation. Got one, and probably a second. Vote? Aye. That passes. And let's make I'll entertain a motion to action to approve and authorize the chair to sign the interlocal contract for construction. Vote? Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Item 16 is comments by the general public.
Okay, so this is the part of the meeting that's set aside for comments for the general public. Remember, you only have 3 minutes, and we're not able to take any action on anything brought up. I think I know the person who's going to come up. Please state your name for the record.
Thanks again, Vice Chair Isaac Barone. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. We're going to talk about flood control today. Flood control is very important to me. Why do I talk about flood control? Well, I got a few reasons. It's interesting. Sometimes I just feel like it. I enjoy matters of flood control, even though to many in the world it can seem very dry and boring and doesn't get much attention. But it's these type of things that we don't see that really matter. You can drive down the road and not know that some of these detention basins are there. But you may not see it, but it's there. I never thought that years ago I would be moving and living in a desert. And it's easy to forget about flood control when we get to enjoy 300-something days of dry and often sunny weather. But we can't forget about flood control because when it rains, then you see why we need it. So how do we continue to fund this work? Well, we have to, and it's a good idea that we have this independent district that is the flood control district, because it's your independence as a board that could help get this work done year after year. And I don't know much about construction or engineering or anything like that. I just barely made it out of high school, and I was probably better at skipping fare on the New York City subway than it was about doing my high school stuff. Now I pay for the bus and the subway. So we have to keep doing this. These projects are putting people to work. It's not work that I could ever do. But they're investments. They make us a better Las Vegas. Hopefully we can showcase the importance of flood control. Yes, I do see the PSAs. I think I've seen some PSAs on YouTube. I'm what they call a cord cutter. So I get internet, but I don't have regular cable. So we have to reach out with our messaging for those of us who don't have regular television, but we're watching streaming programs and we are looking at websites, and so we have to insert the messages about flood control all year round so we can be ready, because we don't know when it's going to rain. And I know what it's like when a flood happens. And I've never been caught in swift water, but I know what it's like to have ankle-deep water out in the street. Makes it hard to cross the street and I get my feet wet. That's not a good thing. So thank you for flood control. And I just felt like sharing my thoughts about flood control today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And I think when you're in flood control business, dry content is fantastic content. And with that, unless there's any other comments, I will now close this meeting.
Thank you.